Hey everyone, it's Micah back again with the final installment of the Crystal Tower in 2020 walkthrough series, The World of Darkness. Now this raid is one of the least changed of the three, but we're still able to skip many mechanics and also wipe here very easily. When I recorded the footage for this video, I had to run it over 3 times because the parties I was getting were simply ignoring too many mechanics or not knowing what to do and wiping the raid. I was getting a bit frustrated by the end, but it just reinforced why I need to make these videos. So let's get into it. The first boss of the World of Darkness is a giant airman named Angermenu and is the one that seems most people have the most issues with due to some very unforgiving mechanics. On the bright side, these mechanics are also very easy to deal with. If you're the one tanking, you're going to want to keep this guy in the dead center of the arena and face him away from the party at all times due to a large laser that he'll periodically shoot from his middle eye that can very easily kill a healer or a DD. Keeping him facing north is actually the best due to some mechanics we will see soon. Everyone else should try to stay close to the center even if they're ranged, and the first mechanic is why. Throughout the fight, Anger is going to cast Double Vision, which will create a swirling vortex of ether centered around him and covering the entire platform, turning half of it red and half of it white. This is not dodgeable and will leave you with a debuff matching the color you were standing in. After that first cast, whenever he casts Double Vision again, just stand in the color opposite of your debuff, which is made super easy if you stay near the center. If you do, the debuff will swap and you will take minimal damage. If you get hit with the same color twice, you're going to take a large chunk of damage, and if you get hit with it a third time, yeah dude, you're dead. Then after a few lasers, he's going to begin casting level 100 Flare. This is one of 2 identical looking attacks Anger has that will create a circle around a player and tether all other players within that circle to them. This is easily cancelled if everybody just simply runs out of the circle and breaks their tether. If not, during level 100 Flare, massive damage will be paid out to everyone within the circle if the number of players within the circle is even. The other variation of this attack is level 150 Doom that will just kill all players inside the circle if the total number of players who remain within it are in multiples of 3. So when you see one of these circles appear, don't worry about numbers, don't worry about counting the players, just run out of it. Soon after that first level 100 Flare, 4 final hourglasses will appear around the arena and a cone will start lighting up sections of the floor as it spins slowly in a circle. This attack is called Roulette, and all you need to do is destroy the 4 hourglasses and not stand in the section that's glowing after they're all gone. Anyone that is will just be killed, and you're going to know when the final hourglass is gone as the cone will change from a milky white to this multicolored indicator. This is also the reason I said earlier that tanks should face this boss north. Hourglasses do not appear in the cardinal direction, so if you keep him face north, there's no fear of players getting nailed by his eye lasers unless they purposefully step in front of him. After this attack goes out, 2 smaller airmen called the Angermenu's Daiwa will appear, turn all DPS to these minions and kill them before they explode, doing large raid-wide damage. The last attack this guy has that you need to know about is called Mortal Gaze, which will be represented by this large red eye. Mortal Gaze is going to inflict a 10-second doom timer on you, which means it's going to instantly kill you after 10 seconds. This is very easy to get around, however, because all you need to do is turn around so you're not facing him when he finishes this cast. But if you are and you get hit by this, all you have to do is run to one of these glowing circles to remove the debuff. Just remember, you only have 10 seconds. But that's all there is for this guy. Like I said, he doesn't have a lot of mechanics, but the ones he does have are very unforgiving. The next boss is the FiveHeaded Dragon, and if you're the tank, you're going to want to pull him to the north side of the arena and face him away from the party. You can go right up to that edge too, because the Alliance is going to need plenty of dodge space for this one. Each one of the boss's heads has different attacks to watch out for, and since they have no names, you just need to watch for indicators. The first is a fire attack that simply does moderate damage and is indicated by this swirling ring of fire. All you have to do is step out of this one. The second is an ice attack indicated by this white circle. This one is going to freeze the floor and anybody who stands in it, causing damage over time. This frozen patch is also going to grow in size, so just be sure you keep your distance. The third attack is a pool of poison that's going to drop after the standard orange indicator. This pool will continuously spawn slimes that will cast silence on players and eventually spawn a large toxic slime if left unchecked. But you can prevent this by having at least one person stand in the center of the pool to prevent slimes from spawning. That person will take some damage over time, but it's so minimal that it can be easily healed through. The disco circles are also going to appear again as well and do moderate damage to anyone who stands in them. But after they disappear, they're also going to spawn glowing orbs called prominence. Destroy these orbs before they burst, causing raid-wide damage. There are two indicators you need to watch out for that will appear over random players' heads. The first one is this purple arrow. If you get it, you want to run into a group of players. It does a set amount of lightning damage that will be split between everyone it hits. Running away with this and eating all the damage is almost certain death. The other one is this yellow flower. If you get this one, you want to run away from everyone. Far away from everyone. Once the flower disappears, the boss is going to turn to you and shoot you with a gust of wind, blowing you up into the air, which will cause damage to everyone it hits, not to mention causing them to lose a few rounds of attack. Outside of these breath attacks, there's only a couple other things you need to watch out for. The first is a small red dragon that will tether itself to random players. If you get the tether, you can run to another player and hand this tether off to them, and each time you do, the damage that this dragon deals will be reduced. If you do not pass this tether, it could be potentially fatal. The boss will also cast Discordance early on in the fight. Now during this time, all heads are going to become targetable and you need to toggle between them and take them all out before they finish their casting. Now in all my years playing this game, I have never seen this mechanic fail, so I have no idea what's really going to happen if you do not kill all the heads. But when you're down to just the original head, it's going to just keep casting until it's done and do raid-wide damage. And that should be all you see. But if your DPS is on the real low side, you may see another move called Heat Wave, which will place a debuff on everyone for 5 seconds, causing them to take damage equal to the amounts of damage they inflict on the boss. And this counts for healing too. You will take damage every time you heal. But this move isn't much of a threat anymore. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it in well over a year. Your DPS has to be pretty low for this to go out anymore. I have been mostly skipping mini bosses in this series because I don't feel they really need much explanation, but there's a couple helpful tricks to this next one. So here each team is going to take a platform, and again it's as easy as A, B, C. Each platform has an Atomos and 4 large circles on top and 4 large circles on the level below. Now the first thing you want to do here is focus target the Atomos, and if you do not know what that is, pay attention because this is very helpful for nearly every raid, every dungeon, and every boss that you are going to encounter in this game. After you target something, you can press Shift F on your keyboard to set a focus target. On a controller, I believe you need to either create a macro or open up the submenu. I don't really know though because I don't use a controller for MMOs. I have no idea how you guys who do, it just seems so complicated. This will create a small box that gives the target's name, HP, buffs, debuffs, as well as show you a miniature cast bar. And no matter what else you target, the focus target will not change, allowing you to keep an eye on a specific mob or a specific player. After this fight begins, the Atomos is going to target random players, sucking them in and then spitting them out to the lower level of the platform. The only way back up is to stand on one of the glowing circles. If you're not targeted, simply just don't stand near a targeted player and you can avoid this. The circles on the upper platform will also glow now and then, and what you want to do when you see one glow is run over to it and step on it to turn it off. Doing so will keep the lower level circles glowing. The Atomos will also summon sacrifice soldiers now and then that are just going to run around and do damage. All you have to do is take these out. But here's where that focus target comes in. Atomos will cast Shockwave throughout the fight, which will push everyone off to the lower platform. And if no one's on top to turn off the circles, the whole party could be potentially stuck below. But since you have Atomos focus targeted, even if you're fighting the soldier, you can see when Shockwave is being cast. So all you need to do is stand directly under Atomos and the Shockwave will take you to the edge, but not push you over. And if you're a real pro, you can stand in a place that will push you onto one of the glowing circles so you can turn it off with no effort. But that's all you really need to know with that. My main reason for telling you about that is to show the usefulness of focus target. Focus target is going to be something that's going to make your entire experience in this game a lot easier no matter what role you play. But with that, on to Cerebus. Now this big doggo is relatively easy with only one potentially raid wiping mechanic. If you're the tank, just hold him where he spawns and face him away from the party to avoid cleaving everyone. And if you're a ninja, monk, or any other position dependent job, he also has a backwards cleave to watch out for called tail blow. Everyone else should just avoid standing directly behind or in front of him so you don't have to worry about these cleaves. This fight starts fairly slow, but after he breaks the helmets off his head, things really pick up. This is actually the potential party wiping mechanic, and it's right at the beginning, which just makes it beautiful. First thing he's going to do after the helmets break is target one player and spit a ball of gastric juice towards them. Even though this is targetable, do not destroy it. He's also going to target another player and basically vomit where they're standing. If you're quick, you could take this close to the gastric juice to make things easier, just don't run it away. The vomit will start spawning ads, but also don't go near it just yet. This part is usually split between the parties. A takes care of the ads, B goes in the belly, and C takes chains. But who goes where doesn't really matter as long as everybody doesn't go into the belly, leaving the ads to run amok, or not enough players go in the belly. But that, of course, needs more clarification. If you stand near the gastric juice, it's going to shrink you down to minion size, and after you get shrunk, you need to run to stand in the slabber or the vomit. Cerebus will, like you will know if you've ever had dogs in your family, go back and eat it, swallowing you along with it. Now, if you're not shrunk, this will instantly kill you, but if you are, it's going to transport you to his belly. When you're in his belly, simply attack the stomach walls, forcing him to vomit you back up. This will also cause him to slump down in pain and stop attacking for a while. While he's slumped, two players need to run to the far side of the arena and grab the magic fetters. Run them back to the boss and use them on the open fetters to chain him back up. Do not hold on to these or they will reset and you're most likely going to wipe the raid. Holding onto them used to be a tactic to allow more damage-free DPS time, but it's no longer needed and it almost always ends up in a wipe these days. So just chain him back up right away. Don't be this guy. This guy wiped that raid. Let me reiterate that. If not enough people go into the belly or he does not get chained back up, the raid will wipe. After he's chained back up, Cerebus will resume his attacks again, so if you're tanking, be sure he's not facing the party. He will also have added a few new tricks to his routine. For instance, he's going to summon lightning balls to randomly land on players. Now these aren't going to do any damage on their own, but they will create beams of light that will, so simply dodge them. He's also going to charge up an attack called Hound Out of Hell. This has no indicator outside of the casting animation, but when he's finished charging it up, he's going to dash across the arena, causing damage to anyone in his path, so simply be sure you're not standing in front of him. After he breaks his helmets a second time, he's going to get access to an attack called Sulfuric Breath that does damage in 3 lines in front of him, and sometimes you will very rarely see Ululation, which has a long cast time and will place glowing blue flames over your head. Now this is going to cause a fear debuff that will make you lose control of your character for a short time, but to counter this, all you need to do is stack with other players who have the debuff. With that, Cerebus is down and it's time to move on to the final boss, the Cloud of Darkness. This final boss goes down incredibly fast these days, and many of her attacks are just non-existent, so this fight should be one of the least difficult of this whole raid. After the fight begins, Cloud of Darkness, or Cloudy as I will lovingly call her, will target one person and cast Faint Particle Beam. If you are the one that's targeted, be sure you run away from other players and just keep running. This attack will cause a series of explosions that will follow you, and they're very easy to outrun, but if you don't keep moving, they will kill you. They will also hit anyone in their path, which is why you want to move away from other players. Cloudy will then disappear and reappear in a random place to cast Zero Form Particle Beam, an AoE attack that does damage in a straight line in front of her, so simply watch to see where she reappears and step out of her way to avoid this attack. After this, we're going to see the first of the potentially raid wiping mechanics. Glowing glyphs are going to appear around the arena, and a comet will slowly come down on top of them from the sky, exploding on impact, causing raid-wide damage. All of these glyphs need at least one person standing in them at all times. If you're standing in them properly, a circle will appear around the glyph and the damage that comet does will be significantly reduced. These glyphs will appear throughout the fight and will get continuously stronger, and even one missed glyph later on could be fatal. So stand in those glyphs whenever you see them. After the first set of glyphs, Cloudy will become invulnerable and start pulling clouds in. Everybody should turn their attention to these clouds and destroy them before they can reach her. If they're moving too fast, you can simply stand in their path to slow them down. For every cloud she absorbs, it will increase the power of her next move, but they're easy to take out, so this shouldn't be a problem. After this phase is done, she will cast a large raid-wide AoE before disappearing again. While she's in hiding, 3 hypercharged clouds will appear surrounded by hexagonal barriers. You need to take out these clouds, but to do so you need to be inside the barrier. After they are destroyed, Cloudy will reappear and cast another zero form particle beam. At this point, all you need to do is watch out for the final faint particle beam, fire off your limit breaks, and take out the last round of glyphs, and that should be it. And with that, you are done with the Crystal Tower Raid series. Give yourself a round of applause, a little pat on the back and all that good stuff. This was really fun for me to do, and I hope to do more guides in the future, and I'm currently looking for a grade group to do just that. If you want me to do a Void Ark or Evilly series, let me know. Although not much has really changed in those two just yet, I will do them if you would like me to. Or if you have another suggestion for a guide that you would like to see, let me know those too, either here or on Twitter, linked below. But with that, I hope you had fun in the Crystal Tower, and as per the usual, it's been a hoot. Until next time, have fun.